Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are covering a single fat activist that says she's very pro-science, but everything in her page contradicts that. It's going to be a fun ride, so let's begin.
Weight for your health is not fat phobic.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Not everyone who sets out to lose weight for their health is inherently fat phobic. It really depends on the specific reason why you think weight loss is going to help with your health.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. No. If someone wants to lose weight for any reason, it's not offensive to anyone else. Their intentions of why they want to lose weight is none of your business. Let's continue.
If you think weight loss in and of itself inherently makes you healthier, then yeah, you're fat phobic as fuck. Sorry. But if you're losing weight because you want to either be straight sized or pass as straight sized for the fitness industry and the medical industry to treat you better, and it's because you're trying to get that higher level of care that straight sized people get that you might not get as a plus size person, I think that's more a reaction to fat phobia than it is your own fat phobia. It's you trying to protect yourself from fat phobia. Of course, assuming everyone could do that is straight ableism. And I know your video was to spread fat phobia, but I just thought I'd start a more nuanced, advanced conversation for my followers. Have a day.
I don't understand the sheer audacity of people to police other people's intentions of what they want to do with their body. Oh, you want to lose weight? Okay, write me a 5-paragraph essay as to why, so I can decide if you're being a bigot or not. Excuse me? And the ride this TikTok took me on was incredible. It started with saying that trying to lose weight for health is, quote, fat phobic as f***. Okay. Then she said that losing weight to get better treatment is kind of acceptable because you want to get away from the fat phobia. All right. But then it goes on to say that believing everyone can lose weight, assuming you're overweight to begin with, is ableist. I've heard the argument that wanting to lose weight is classist and racist, but ableist is a new one. Ableism is discrimination based on someone's disability, right? But being fat isn't a disability. And I'm sure she'd agree because earlier in the video she said that it's fat phobic to think that you'll be healthier with weight loss. So how is thinking that overweight people can lose weight ableism? I honestly can't come up with even a flimsy fat acceptance argument as to why that would be the case, and she never explained. And she said that this TikTok was for nuance. No, girl, I have more questions.
Nope. You mad? You mad? I'm happy about it. You mad?
If you didn't get a chance to read the comment, it says, body positivity has always been about challenging beauty standards, self-love, and inclusivity. It was never just fat acceptance. And of course her response is, no, body positivity is about fat people only, you stupid idiot, and what are you going to do about it? She didn't actually say any of that, but with all of the taunting and belly slapping, that was the gist. And no, body positivity is for everyone, not just fat people. Why would they create a movement that was just fat acceptance and then create another movement called body positivity if they already had fat acceptance? It doesn't make any sense. And stop gatekeeping.
Your contributor to weight gain is your calorie intake versus your calorie expenditure.
So this clip was taken right after he claimed that PCOS doesn't really have a major impact on body size. Go watch for context. He also, plugs his Instagram at the end. I see that you were talking about calories in, calories out. What you probably didn't know is that is actually called the energy balance model of body size. And that model has been proven wrong time and time again. You can go check my bio for all those sources. I have a lot of other videos where I talk about that, but that's not the main thing I want to talk to you about today. I want to challenge you. No responding until you complete the challenge or you lose. If you really believe that we can control our body size entirely, I want you to find one intentional weight loss solution that doesn't have any surgery, that is low risk to your health, and that works for more than 5 years, that's been tested on more than 50 subjects. Your move.
I have a counter offer. I am now of the opinion that smoking cigarettes is not unhealthy, and we should stop trying to convince people to stop smoking. If you disagree, I challenge you to find me one solution that has been proven to help people quit smoking for 5 or more years that has been tested on more than 50 people. If you can't find one, I have proven that quitting smoking is impossible and is, in fact, not unhealthy. The only solution that exists to long-term weight loss is the thing she ruled out at the beginning of the video, which is eating less and more exercise. That's the only thing that has been proven to help people lose weight long-term. So I don't know what response she wants. And she also said that the calories in, calories out model has been debunked, and she gave links to other studies that prove that. So she gives 3 studies here. One of them is on the carbohydrate insulin model of obesity, and part of it reads, in animals, dietary composition has been clearly demonstrated to affect metabolism and body composition, consistent with the carbohydrate insulin model predictions. So this study basically says that the type of foods you eat are important and not just the calories you consume. This second study goes more into the brain's involvement in food consumption and obesity and our diets. And this third study looks at the causation between obesity and sleep duration or childhood growth, as well as metabolic flexibility and dietary composition. But there's a few things to be said about them. One, while there's nothing wrong with any of these studies, none of them can be said to debunk the calories in, calories out model. 2, none of these studies support the idea that body size is not within our control. All 3 of these studies focus heavily on dietary composition, as in the quality of the foods we consume, as a leading cause of obesity. And dietary composition is something we can control, so it's a huge misrepresentation of these studies for her to use them as a way of saying that body size is not within our control. Third, all 3 of these studies support the idea that obesity is unhealthy. These studies were done as a means of furthering obesity research for the treatment and prevention of obesity. The first author on one of these studies has a book called Always Hungry: Conquer Cravings, Restrain Your Fat Cells, and Lose Weight Permanently. So he clearly doesn't believe that obesity is healthy. The main author in the second study has written many other papers basically saying that it's the obesogenic environment that we should try to fix instead of trying to tell people individually how to lose weight. And the third author has many publications all based around looking at how dietary composition affects things like metabolism, body size, and other factors, all with the intent of better understanding and treating the obesity crisis. None of the authors of these papers would agree with this woman that losing weight is discriminatory or that obesity is not unhealthy.
You can't equate feeling better in your body to thinness. It's the way people treat us when we're thin, and it's the activity and the eating that led us to being thin that makes us feel this way. But it's not the weight loss necessarily itself.
Wait, hold the f*** up. So exercise and eating does make people thin? Before, she said that the energy expenditure model is incorrect and has been proven false. But now she's saying that food and exercise is what makes you thin? Which means she also believes that we do have control over our body size. Are you being ableist right now? Also, what an awful argument to make about the food thing. You don't feel better because of the weight loss. You feel better because of the healthier food and exercise that caused the weight loss. But what if the excess fat on your body was exacerbating or causing hormonal issues, or causing mobility problems? Then it was the actual weight loss that made that person feel better.
Okay, so first, posting about weight loss can absolutely be fatphobic, so thank you.
Thanks, Gigi. Go back and listen to that video. She talks a lot about ableism. Go back and watch her page. She's super funny. I love following Gigi, and I just wanted to add that it is usually fatphobic when you post your weight loss on social media. Think about it. First of all, why are you trying to shrink your body? Is it for your health? Most people are going to say that, but it's not, because eating right and exercising will help your health. Fat loss, not necessarily, and fat loss might result as one of those things, but that doesn't mean the fat loss caused you to become more healthy. And another thing, if you are just trying to become healthy, why are you posting it? Why do you want, like, what are you looking for? Is it reassurance that your thin body is more praised than your fat body was? Think about it.
I will think about it. And the conclusion I came to is that some people post things on the internet that they are proud of. There are multiple TikToks on this woman's page of things that I would say she posted because she's proud of, mostly related to her being a union organizer. And I can look in your comments as to why you may have posted them, which is praise. People are giving you praise. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if someone works to become healthier and they post it on social media for praise or validation or whatever, what's the problem? This type of guilting people for their intentions is so strange. It isn't ableism to make a post about becoming healthier. And if it is, then it's also classist to show off on the internet that you're part of a union. If posting about weight loss is ableist, then posting about your union membership is classist. I don't make the rules here. And she mentioned again that eating healthy and exercise does lead to weight loss. And I also can't get past the fact that she understands that eating healthier food and exercising, which are both healthy things, lead to weight loss. Which means that she also has to know that not exercising and eating less nutritious food, which are both objectively unhealthy things, lead to weight gain. And yet, she won't acknowledge that being fat is unhealthy, even though it's caused by objectively unhealthy behaviors. Do you see why I'm confused?
Nowadays, they just talk, but they talk about nothing.
The comment says, then explain the leading causes of death in the US being predominantly related to obesity. And I think she's trying to say that because obesity isn't on the list, that this person is wrong. But the top 3 things on this list are heavily related to obesity: heart disease, cancer, and COVID-19. You are at much higher risk of developing or dying from heart disease, cancer, and COVID-19 if you are obese.
This is so funny because there's that joke that all the mean girls in high school and college became nurses. And also there's a joke within the fat community that formerly fat people are the meanest. And you just did both.
If you didn't read the comment, it says, I'm a nurse and formerly morbidly obese. There's nothing you can tell me that I'm not already professionally aware of or have personal experience in. And this woman's response was, you're a nurse, not an epidemiologist. Stay in your lane, hun. This TikTok belongs in the top 3 most disrespectful TikToks I've ever featured on this channel, which is a high bar. First of all, why are you using tropes about nurses and formerly fat people to discredit this nurse instead of actually addressing what she said? She didn't say anything mean or rude at all. She said that being morbidly obese is unhealthy, and she knows that from personal experience and professional experience. Second, why are only epidemiologists allowed to talk about obesity? That's stupid for multiple reasons. One, obesity and obesity research stretches far beyond the scope of epidemiology. Most epidemiologists have sometimes a master's, but usually a PhD to be called an epidemiologist, and very few epidemiologists are also doctors. So basically she's saying that even doctors aren't allowed to talk about obesity. 2, most epidemiologists would agree with what this nurse said, that being morbidly obese is very unhealthy. And 3, this woman in this TikTok that is talking about how this nurse needs to stay on her lane because she's not an epidemiologist is not an epidemiologist. She is a biologist that does research on cancer in mice. That's not epidemiology. And yet most of her TikTok page is talking about obesity. By her own rationale, she is far out of the scope of knowledge that she should be talking about on her TikTok page. Maybe you should try to stay in your lane, hun.
Oh my god, look at that girl with the blue eyes just going around TikTok promoting melanoma. Like, you can't have eyes though that blue and know you're not gonna get eye cancer from it. And like, she's not even wearing sunglasses. Like, I don't even see sunglasses in her video. So like, she probably walks around staring into the sun all day and she's gonna get eye cancer. Like, you just can't go around promoting blue eyes like that. Like, it's just really, really not responsible to be putting that on the internet. Oh my god, did you hear that girl has a master's degree and she's going around promoting master's degree? Doesn't she know that master's degree have way higher mortality than a PhD does? Oh my god, I am so glad that I just got engaged. I know he like beats me and stuff, but like, people who are married statistically live longer than people who are single, so.
Yo, what the f was that last bit?
That I just got engaged. I know he like beats me and stuff, but like, people who are married statistically live longer than people who are single, so.
I have no words for that analogy. Trying to lose weight for your health is just like choosing to marry an abuser for longevity. We're going to set that analogy down right here at this timestamp, and we'll leave it right there, never to be touched again. But in the rest of the video, I think she's talking about other people saying that she's promoting obesity by being fat on the internet, and that's not okay, and she's trying to make analogies for that. But first of all, she does a lot more than just be fat on the internet. She literally has links to sources talking about the science behind obesity, so she's not just existing on her TikTok page. And with her own logic, she's saying that criticizing people with blue eyes or that have a master's degree is the same as criticizing her for making TikToks about how people are fat phobic for wanting to lose weight. That's what she's saying, right? I feel ridiculous saying that out loud, but that was her point. But also, blue eyes and having a master's degree aren't unhealthy medical conditions like obesity is, so comparing them doesn't make any sense. And I'm getting a headache from trying to process these analogies. So we're going to move on before I get more confused.
Should I be writing my thesis now? Yes. Am I going to stop to show everyone a paper that I found really interesting in my literature search? Also, yes. Came across this paper in the literature search because I study catalase and how it applies to cancer, and found this paper that showed that mice that are low in catalase develop obesity and prediabetes. Increase in body weight over time with mice that lacked catalase. This is the liver, and this shows the increased fat in the lower catalase mice. Another paper found that early onset of type 2 diabetes occurs when you inherit a catalase deficiency. All this is just to show one example of how there could be a third factor causing both obesity and type 2 diabetes. We used to think that obesity caused the diabetes, and now we're starting to figure out that it's just that the same genetic mechanism can cause both. And that's just one example, and it was done in mice, so grain of salt.
Okay, so this TikTok is about how a specific enzyme deficiency that someone might inherit could make it more likely for them to develop type 2 diabetes or obesity. I don't think there's anything wrong with mentioning that in and of itself, but I have a problem with this TikTok because it seems like the second step in spreading misinformation and creating distrust between patients and medical professionals. The first step is the multiple TikToks about how obesity isn't unhealthy, which is obviously false. The second step is to then provide a possible answer for why the obesity crisis exists to further support the idea that the medical community's knowledge of obesity is wrong. And without the first step, this TikTok is mostly fine. I'll have a bunch of people tell me that this TikTok is fine and you don't like it because you just want everyone to think that being obese is a choice and you want people fat shamed and you don't want any other research done on obesity that could contradict that idea. No, I don't believe that. But I think understanding why this woman is talking about this research is just as important as the research itself. Why is she mentioning this study to us? It's one thing to say that there are genetic and lifestyle factors that lead to obesity and that they should all be thoroughly researched to best understand and treat obesity. It's a completely different thing to outright say that obesity isn't unhealthy and to imply that Western medicine simply hasn't found all of the genetic causes for obesity, and then present a study like the one she just did. The problem with this TikTok, along with the other ones she referenced earlier in the video that dispute the calories in, calories out model, aren't bad because the studies she's referencing are bad. Her referencing these studies are bad because she's twisting the information in them to support a conclusion that the studies weren't made to support. All of these studies were created as a way of furthering obesity research for better obesity treatment. But she's using them as a means of discounting most, if not all, scientific research we currently have on obesity. And this is why these scientific-sounding fat activists are so insidious in their rhetoric, because they try to use science to spread misinformation by discrediting already existing science. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The difference between being critical of science or trying to advance science and being a science denier is the ability to acknowledge the weaknesses and strengths of existing scientific research and a willingness to expand in the ways that the research is lacking. What this woman is doing is not that. She's discounting the mile-high stack of research that shows that obesity is unhealthy and is mostly caused by lifestyle factors, and she's doing that by cherry-picking a few studies here and there as a means of discounting all of the others. That is not being critical of science. That is not being a forward-thinking scientist. It is science denialism. And what's even more contradictory about this woman is she has multiple TikToks talking about how meat consumption is linked to cancer, and she shows a bunch of studies to prove that. But I'm 100% sure that if I brought out 100 studies to her showing that obesity is unhealthy, she would point me towards the 5 studies that she has, that she cherry-picked about how obesity isn't unhealthy, and then call me fatphobic. So her mentality when it comes to scientific studies seems to be, they're only valid if I think they are. Okay, so the summary I have of this woman's belief on fatness and health is as follows. 1. The calories in, calories out model of body size is a myth. 2. Eating healthy and exercising does often lead to weight loss if you are overweight. But 3, being fat is not unhealthy. And 4, if you are fat and you lose weight, weight loss might make you feel healthier, but it's because of the dietary changes and not the actual fat loss. And 5, posting on social media about becoming healthier is ableist for reasons that were never explained in any video I've seen on her page. Oh, and nurses. And anyone in the medical field that isn't an epidemiologist. Okay, someone put these 6 points together in a way that isn't full of contradictions. Please and thank you.